Hello, my name is Miriam and welcome to my channel. I am a medium to people, pets, and the paranormal. Today our pick a card question is, why am I not happy? So let's get started. Card one, why am I not happy? It's metaphorically speaking, it's as if your heart is swollen. So think about if if you sprain your ankle, right? It swells up, or you break your ankle. And the swelling is from the injury, but then it also lets us know we need to heal, or there's time for heal, or it's time to heal. And your heart feels like they're swollen. There's so much trauma that's happened that the heart is just like swelling because it's trying to manage all of the pain and trauma that's happened. And so when we look at a question that can seem as general as why am I not happy, it's actually a very specific question. The heart represents courage. And when we lose our courage because we have been injured so many times, then we continue to spiral farther and farther down. Now, some of us go into a depression, and some of us are functioning. It's almost like, I want to say, a functioning depressed person, and the heart and the pain, I don't want you to think that it's just physical loss. I'm feeling some of you with broken dreams, lost jobs, friendships lost. I feel like there's a multitude of things that you all have experienced that run just as deep. So it's not about how bad the loss is. Did someone die, or did you get fired from a job you loved? It doesn't matter right now. We're just looking at your pain, and that's where I'm feeling jobs lost. I'm feeling friendships lost, marriages broken. I'm feeling a lot of that more than I'm feeling death specifically, because what's interesting is death is so specific, and there's almost this sense of, I understand I have to heal from the loss of losing this person. Whereas you guys, I'm feeling these deaths, quote unquote, that aren't as specific. And we feel like, well, we should get over it. Why are we still harboring this? Why are we still feeling this? It was just the loss of a job, or it was just the job I didn't get, or it was just, the marriage wasn't even that long, or all these things we say, right, to try and justify why we shouldn't be feeling this sadness still. We shouldn't be feeling this loss of courage still, this desire to no longer try or put ourselves out there on any level. And when we stop having courage, and we stop trusting that we can succeed at something, and believing and wanting to, we just start to go within and just become comfortable with just the humdrum of life day to day, and just, that your pain isn't worthy because someone else has pain that's greater than yours. And yes, people do have pain that's greater than yours, which is more the reason for you to work through your pain, so that you could be of service to those that need you, right? That need your joy, that need your light. And so, you're not only doing a disservice to yourself, but you're doing a disservice to others when we don't feel like the pain in our heart is worth healing from, or talking about, or going back to therapy for, or meditating on, or releasing through yoga, right? And so for you guys, the swelling of the heart is this loss of courage. You've been beat down, you've been told you can't, you've been in bad relationships, You've had bad bosses and been pulled out of jobs that were bad for you anyway, but maybe a part of you enjoyed it. So we have this compilation of trauma that continues to happen to the heart, and the heart is now swollen from the trauma and is being asked to heal. And once you heal that, you will find that your life completely shifts and changes. Anger dissipates, sadness will start to dissipate, and you'll find that courage again to do simple things, little things that you would look back and go, wow, I remember 10 years ago doing this fearlessly without even thinking twice. And you'll come back to who you were and who you are. You've lost yourself a little bit, and we want you to get back to who you are and get back on track. Not that we're ever on the wrong path, but sometimes we need to step off our path to remember these things. And for card 1, this group, this is all about visualizing your heart right this moment and seeing that it's swollen, just like a trauma to an ankle, right? It swells up. And what do? You put ice on it. You stay off it. You do whatever you can to heal it. Treat your heart the same way. Your heart needs to have warmth and patience, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be spoken to. So however you're going to do that, journaling, meditation, therapy, all of that, yoga, chanting, all of that's going to open up your heart, and really focusing on that area. Read about the heart chakra, what it has to offer, how you can focus on it. But this is something that you can heal. This is something that you can come out of. This is all fixable. You are not forever lost. Card 2. Card 2, why am I not happy? Card 2, this is about the matriarch. This is about ancestors. This is about family. This is about dominance. This is about putting yourself in situations that force you to kind of harden your outer shell and use this as a barrier. You've had ancestors, and I say ancestors lightly. So ancestors can mean people that are still embodied this life. And then ancestors that go beyond, right? That have controlled you, have told you what you need to feel, what you should be feeling. And for a lot of you, this hasn't been done in a quote unquote abusive way, in a way that's labeled as abusive. So you may not have even noticed it or felt it. It was this like slight manipulation of telling you how you should feel and what you should be doing and how you should be living your life. And then you went out and you repeated this pattern with work and with bosses and even with relationships. And so I'm feeling matriarch in specific, the matriarch that has manipulated you into believing I need to feel this way or be this way. And let me make some sense here. When I say matriarch, again, I want to really stress that I'm not talking about abusive. Some of you had abusive relationships with parents, but some of you didn't have abusive relationships. There was this need to, whether it's honor the matriarch and repeat her patterns, do what she did, subconsciously just taking on her life and moving with it. But so for you, through those, so there's a combination of that for you guys. But these ancestors in your life have continued to these ancestors in your life have continued to, kind of get their claws in you and decide things for you. And it happened so long ago that you probably don't even realize it until someone turns that light bulb and you go, wait a minute, that is. So it's interesting because when it's not done in an abusive way, where there's yelling or screaming or God forbid hitting, that type of thing, it's easier for us to not see it coming and not realize it's happening. But even more the reason for you to be able to address it, and it can be harder to acknowledge and address because every person has positive qualities and negative qualities, right? Every person has that. So it's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? It's saying, okay, this part of this person did this to me, and I have to work through this. I have to acknowledge it, and I have to see that I created patterns out of this person, and I don't need that pattern anymore. For a lot of you, you got to break that pattern. You got to leave jobs specifically, and there's a couple of you that should walk away from relationships. I'm feeling like these are you are in a relationship with a matriarch, where the matriarch, your partner, is a very strong female energy, not necessarily a woman, that is dominating. And I say not necessarily a woman, just to reiterate, I'm not looking at sex or gender. I'm talking energy, which is masculine, feminine. So it doesn't matter if your partner is male or female, they carry both energies, right? So, so for you guys, why am I not happy? This stems from this ancestry from so long ago, bleeding into this life. It can 100% be cleared. You do not have to carry this with you. This is something that you can stop in this lifetime. It does not have to control you anymore. They do not need to control you anymore. But again, I want to stress, for so many of you, this behavior was done so manipulatively. You got to really dig deep. I can feel that some of you are like, no, I already know, I already recognize. But for some of you, I think you have to dig a little deeper to really see who has done this and see this chain of events that has created this, causing this continual unhappiness for you in your life. Card 3, this is about loss. I feel physical death for a lot of you. I feel death. Some of you have lost children or animals at very young ages, unexpectedly. And there was this sense, I feel that you went into these situations with these dreams of things looking a certain way and being a certain way, and it didn't work out. And so for some of you, there's this physical loss I'm feeling. Like I said, young animals, children, unexpectedly. And for some of you, this is relationship, marriages that you stepped into and were blown up or taken away, broken so early on. Husband or spouse or wife dies unexpectedly. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, just to be clear. I'm saying this is where some of you have been. And this, then let me stress, this doesn't necessarily mean physical death, because this can, divorce is a form of death. And so you may have gone through a traumatic divorce where someone was cheating on you and you had no idea. You genuinely had a happy relationship. And I'm feeling these dark moments that came out of nowhere and that really shook you and shook your family and shook your strength. It shook your belief. It caught you off guard. It was something no one would anticipate. And so here you are, and there's still this sense of shock from it, this sense of what now? What do I do now? Really important for you to understand that, as simple as the saying goes, everything happens for a reason. I want you to dig into that deeper. Everything happens for a reason, because we are all connected. So things that have happened to you are happening to you because you're being asked to change, not because you're being asked to suffer. It doesn't mean that you won't feel pain and you won't mourn and you won't be angry, because you should feel all of those things. That's how you get to change. That's how you get to being this different person. When for you, this why am I not happy is because we're still sitting in the shock and the pain and the sadness of these events that took place. For some of you, it's really important that we stay there. It's important that we understand, especially with physical death, we never sit in the pain. We are experiencing it so we can move through it. For some of you, it's about acknowledging it and moving forward. So in no situation am I saying that you shouldn't be feeling sadness or loss or grief. I'm actually saying the opposite. Get in there and feel it, experience it, so you can move to the other side and get out of it. Therapy, journaling, yoga, meditation, you hear me say all this all the time, because it is truly the number one way to change your vibration. If you can change your energetic vibration, you will change and shift the energetic vibration of everybody around you. So it's so important that we realize that we have to work through our pain. We have to work through our trauma so we can bring light, so that we can raise our vibration and we can be of service to others. It's not always going to be your time to mourn. You're going to be given and shown and created opportunities of joy, but that's got to come from you, right? It can't come from an outside source. That's temporary. It can't come from someone else or something else. That's not real. It can only come from inside you, and it can only come from inside you if you have acknowledged the pain and trauma and sadness that lives in you and then released it.